All right, shalom. Yah Bashim Yashim Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alathun Bashim Yahweh Shah to all the sisters. You understand? Let's go ahead and clap it up. All right. Tonight's class is the Wednesday night law class. We're coming at you live right here from Kansas City, Missouri. And we bringing out the truth of the Bible. You understand? Under Commander Junior Hana, we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group or organization. You understand? Tonight, we're going to be going over the whole Esau's holiday of Christmas, right? Why you shouldn't get caught up. Well, first, the origins of Christmas. Why you shouldn't get caught up in Christmas. Why you shouldn't get caught up in this financial windfall and waste your money. We're going to talk about how Christmas is not the birth of Jesus Christ, if you didn't already know that. And Christmas is for whores, pimps, and LGBTQ members, right? That's in tonight's class, right? With the first scripture being in Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. All right, make sure you logging in. I'll give it a second. Make sure people, brothers and sisters, are logging in the comments section. Right now, I'm posting the login form, the document. So it's a Google document. You're gonna click and you'll log in with this document. All right. I'm putting it inside of the chat right now. Oh, Salaki, bear with me. All right. So make sure you signing in. All right. You want to get this time. You're doing your 90 days. To earn your Hebrew name, you want to sign in, you want to log in. This is a big deal. All right. Right there is posted inside the link inside of the class in the chat. And without further ado, I'm Officer 5000 Malak. You understand, under Commander Junior Hana. Here in the Israelite School UPK under Commander Junior Hana. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are all under Commander Junior Hana, and we are not affiliated with any Israelite group or organization. Right? So once again, tonight's topic, tonight's class, we're going into Christmas. Because I think Christmas, God, I don't even remember. I know it's every December 25th, but I don't know what day that falls on this year. Sometime Monday or Tuesday or some garbage like that. But the point is, we shouldn't be celebrating Christmas. All right? A long, long time ago, there was a man named Nimrod, right, in the Bible. And I think that's where we'll start. So you can hold Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. Right now, we're going to start with Nimrod. All right, Nimrod. Salakia. All right, we'll start with Genesis, the 10th chapter, verse 9. All right. Genesis chapter 10, verse 9. Well, we'll go to verse 6 just to give you context. All right, Genesis chapter 10, verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. Verse 7. And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Havilah, and Salakia, and Sabta, and Ramah, and Sabteka, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. Verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth, right? So this is where the whole history and the origin of Christmas begins, with Nimrod. This man Nimrod, it says here, he began to be a mighty one in the earth. First off, you need to know what his lineage was, which is why we started at verse 6. Nimrod was a Hamite. He descended from Ham. You understand? He descended from Ham, which was one of Noah's 3 sons, one of whom survived the flood on the earth. And so Ham who are now known as the Africans. That is who Ham is. We'll get that for you right now, right? I'll get you Ham in the Bible dictionary. All right. Ham, the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary, page 213. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. So, of course, Ham, Shem, Japheth. Ham was the youngest of Noah's sons. So that's 4, and their wives, that's 8. So he was one of 8 people who survived the flood on the earth. Born probably approximately, not definite, 96 years before the flood. You understand? And he became one of the 8 people who survived the flood on the earth. He became the progenitor of the dark races, right? There's a lot of, here's something that's going to clear and help you when you go and you just going through life, man. As a brother and sister, black so-called black people here in America, black people in the Caribbean islands and Haiti, like here in life, we've been so swindled and we've been lied to for so long that we think in our mind that all dark races are the same. We truly believe that the African people, the people that live in the continent of Africa, who are Africans, who are Cameroon, who are Sudanese, who are Ethiopian, we think because they have dark brown skin like us, we think that we're all the same. We're a melting pot. We're all one. Like how Marcus Garvey thought back in the 1920s. Like how Malcolm X in the Nation of Islam thinks now. Like here we are, we think because of the lies of the church, the lies of black leaders, the lies of politicians, that we're all one people. We think that all dark races are the same, and that's far from the truth, right? We just went over, Salakia, we just read how Ham is one of Noah's 3 boys. Noah had 3 sons. Each son is responsible for a lineage here on this earth. Ham is responsible for the Africans. Shem is responsible for the original, Shem is responsible for Israelites, Ishmaelites. Japheth is responsible for the original Europeans on this earth, right? That is who Japheth, a real Japhite are the Hawaiians and the Polynesians, right? Biblically, right? And that's who they are. And so each son was responsible for their lineage. They have their lineage on the earth, right? And Ham was the progenitor of the dark races. Remember that. He's a progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. This is a historical book right here. This is a book that brings out art. It's a Bible, number one. It's a John DeVan's Bible dictionary. So it defines names, places, words in the Bible. And this is a bunch of scholars, right? A bunch of scholars who did the research, you understand, to find out who belongs to who. Because, of course, the prophecies that are in the Bible tells you who the Hamites are, who the Cushites are, who the Canaanites are, who the Israelites are. These are all the prophecies that are in the Bible, all of the character traits that are in the Bible, the characteristic traits that are in the Bible, to let you know who this person is. And so the research was done, you understand, by scholars, and they did the research and they found out what the Bible said was true, that Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, meaning these people that descend in Africa, that live in Africa, descend from Ham. But you know who isn't a descendant of Ham? The Negroes. Now, why is that so important to understand? It's so important to understand because when we identify what we identify with and who we identify with, it's extremely important. Because our entire lives, we thought that we were African. We thought we were African American, that we were, all of these different bywords and proverbs, when really we are the children of Israel. We are the people that God prefers. You understand? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And even that black, which is why in the UPK it's so one West to say so-called white man, so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called North American Indian, so-called East Indian, so-called Arab. Because that is a name that our oppressor gave these groups of people. Right? Black is not a name that we gave ourselves. Black is a name that another race of people called us, and those people oppress us today. The same reason they call themselves white. Like this candle right here. This candle is white. The oppressor does not resemble this candle. They have a reddish complexion. Reddish. You understand? They're not white like this candle. They're not white like a piece of paper in the book. And that's important to understand why. Not only is it history and true in fact, but it shows you that who you are is not what your oppressor or who your oppressor says you are. You are what God said you are. And you are the children of Israel, so-called black man, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You are the children of Israel. That word Indian, right? Native American Indian or Native Indian. That's a name that was given to the tribe of Gad or Reuben by the so-called oppressor, who is the devil the Bible speaks of. He conquered the earth, Ak. He conquered the earth and called everybody a damn Indian. That's why in East India they're called East Indian. That whole place where Kamala Harris' family is from is India. You understand? That word Indian means savage. The oppressor, or the so-called white man, he went to that land and called those people Eastern Indians or Eastern savages. He went down to the West Indies, the Western Indian Islands, and called those people West Indians or Western savages. He came here to the land of America, or North America, and he called our brothers and sisters from the tribe of Gad Indians or savages, because he is the devil the Bible speaks of. And because he conquered everything and conquered everybody, he can call you whatever the hell he wants to, and now you will call yourself that because you're oppressed and you're a slave to this oppressor, to the white man, to the so-called white man. And so now it's important for you to understand and realize these are just names that the oppressor gave to us. These are not names that we named ourselves. This is not names that the Most High God calls you, right? Haiti means hell. I saw a post where some mother was teaching her kids, to love their Haitian heritage and history, which is good. That's amazing. And she said, I forget what she said, Haiti, man. And I'm like, it's blacks and Hispanics we're not even aware of our condition, right? We think that we're farther along than we are. But Haiti means hell, brother. Haiti, that's all it means for all the Levites in the tribe of Haiti. Haiti means hell. You didn't name yourself. Toussaint Overture didn't name Haiti Haiti, right? Even after they conquered the French. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema L'Tabashim Yahushua. Even after they conquered the French and beat the French and Napoleon Bonaparte, they didn't name themselves Haiti. That was a name given to them by the French. In French, it means hell. Hades, that's hell. And that's what the island of Haiti is called. The same way we're called Negroes. We're called black, nigger. Those are bywords and proverbs given to us by our oppressor. Those are not the names that the Most High God gave us. The names that God gave us, we of course know in the Isupk. We're the 12 tribes of Israel. The 18 nations on the earth, the non-Israelites, the heathens, we know those races' names as well biblically, right? Every nation has a biblical name, right? And so now Nimrod, he descends from Ham, which means Nimrod is not the Negro. Nimrod is not the Negro. Nimrod is not an Israelite. Nimrod is not the descendant of the chosen people of God. He's a descendant of Ham, who are the Africans, right? And so that's why I read that and broke that whole thing down. So you see and you know that Ham, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. You understand? Like, that is who Ham was. And Negroes are not Hamites. We're not African. You understand that? You can just read and find out and look at our tendency, look at our culture, look at the curses that we suffer that the so-called Africans do not, right? So we, of course, are not African, but Nimrod was an African. Nimrod was an Hamite. You understand? And the Bible says, where am I at? Genesis 10, verse 8, right? And Cush begat Nimrod. A Cushite is a Hamite. A Cushite is, I believe, the eastern part of Africa. So over there where the Ethiopians are, that's Cush. You understand? And so Nimrod was one of those, big-headed Africans, disgusting Africans over there in Africa. But this disgusting African, this disgusting heathen, he did what? He began to be a mighty one in the earth. So Nimrod began to be a mighty man in this earth, man. You understand? Verse 9. He was a mighty hunter before the Most High. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Most High. So this cat here was famous on this earth, so much so that it's written about in history. It's written about in history. And it's that name, there's people who still have that name Nimrod to this day. Because he was a mighty, famous man on the earth that God hated. God hated Nimrod. You understand? And so Nimrod was a mighty hunter on the earth. He killed many people. Who was the one that King David fought? Goliath. Just like Goliath was a mighty hunter that stood before King David. Same with Nimrod. Those Hamites, those men over there during this time, just warriors, just men that went to war. You understand? And so Nimrod was no different. But he began to be mighty in hunting. So mighty that he created his own nation. He created his own nation. Let's go to that right now. You understand? Salakia. Here we are in... Oh, Salakia, that's not what I want. Right? We're going to the Tower of Babel. Genesis chapter 11, verse 19. Right? This is how famous, how mighty this heathen Nimrod became. How famous and how mighty this heathen Nimrod became. So like I couldn't even think of the word. This is how famous he became, how mighty he became. Therefore, this is Genesis chapter 11, verse 9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel. Let's skip up. Let's go to verse 1. Genesis 11 and 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. This is at the time when the entire earth spoke one language. You understand? Had one speech, one language. Everybody understood each other. There was no language barrier, right? Everybody didn't. There was no separation between people. There was one people. I'm sorry. There was different groups of people, but we all spoke one language. And Nimrod was the king. He was a mighty hunter. Remember, he was a king. He rose to great power. And this is what Nimrod began to do. Verse 2. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Verse 3. And they said one to another, Go, to let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and tower, whose top may reach heaven. Salakia, whose top may reach unto heaven. Salakia. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So this is Nimrod being in charge of these people on the earth at this time. And all of these nations of people, right, and here under Nimrod's authority, said, well, we're going to go and make a tower and to reach heaven, or else we'll all be scattered, or else we'll be divided, we'll be separated, which is God's will, right? And so this is what Nimrod decided to do. Verse 5, Salakia. This is what, just bear with me. This is, you're going to see what Nimrod decided to do, right? So this is the Lord right here. And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower. So this is what the Most High decided to do, right? There's nothing you can hide from God. And so here it is, this heathen Nimrod, who is a heathen, which means what? That there are many gods for a heathen, right? Heathens, throughout history has had many gods. The nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we are the people who have always been famous for serving and having one God, one power. You understand? And so heathens have all these different powers. Each God for this, there's a God for each day, right? There's a God for, fire is a God. The sun is a God. Anything that gives light and power is a God to heathens because they're not wise. They're not smart. You understand? Israel is the people who are above all nations. So we're the people of wisdom. We're the people of sentientness, of knowledge, of understanding, because that is the people that the Most High God decided to give his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to. You understand? And if you need a precept for that, that's Adam and Eve. And that's all throughout the Bible. Deuteronomy 7 and 6, Deuteronomy 7 and 3, 7 and 4. Like that's throughout the Bible what I just said if you need a precept for that. So here it is, Nimrod, right? And all the people on the earth at this time decided to build this tower to reach heaven. Well, here's what they didn't understand. That the Most High God, the God of Israel, he knows, there's nothing you can get by him, right? You can't overthrow God. You can't be like God. You can't do any of that garbage because the Most High God is always in control, always in power, right? Always in rulership of this earth. And he sees who lives and he controls who dies. And that's something heathens don't understand, but we do, right? And so the Most High God sent an angel. He sent the angels that work for him to go out and look on the earth to see what they're doing, meaning he wanted those angels to give a report back to him, right? Everything in the Christian church is so feminine and soft, right? When Christians speak about angels and God and the relationship between angels and God, they make it seem like it's a fatherly relationship, and it's not. The relationship between the Most High God and the angels is this. God is the commander-in-chief, and the damn angels are the ones who go out and do the work. They're the soldiers, and they do the work of God. They do the will of God. Same with Satan, all right? And so Christians make everything to be so spooky and so superstitious, so scary and Hollywood and fake and movie-like, and they make everything just be fairy tale and gay, LGBT. And that's not the truth between the relationship between angels and God. The relationship between angels and God is just what I said. It's an order. An order was given, and the angels complete the order. They do what God told them to do, and they do it better than you could ever do anything, right? You don't even want to listen to Commander Juniana, Right? You don't want to listen to the men in Isupk when we tell you to stop doing this, stop doing that, stop, eating pork. Don't eat shrimp. God said don't eat shrimp. God said don't eat pork. You understand? And what do? Oh, the law is dead. An angel will never say something like that because he's not a human body. He's not a terrestrial body. He's a celestial body. And he has no choice. Angels don't have a choice. They do what the Most High God says. They are the soldiers. You understand? God has angels who, they just do his will, his work. You understand? And so the Most High God here is instructing these angels, giving them the order to go and give him a report the way a general would. A general wants a report, like major council, but generals even in the oppressor's world, in this kingdom of, Esau's military, French has a military, Russia has a military, France, all that, right? Those generals request a report, right? A report from their soldiers to see, the status of something. The Most High God is no different, right? The Most High God, like it says in the book of Ecclesiasticus, that the Most High God sends angels who are designed spirits that are designed for war. Spirits that's designed for sore strokes that are going to kill somebody if you don't change your life. Like there are spirits, there are angels, brother, whose their mission, well, the angels' mission in general is to do what the Most High God said. But those angels, there are certain spirits who they have a direct mission to just cause chaos. There's angels who have the direct mission to have healing power or to give healing to somebody, some Jake who's sick, somebody who's sick. You understand? And it's up to the Most High God's discretion on who does what. You understand? So just so you understand the relationship between the angel and the Most High God. It's not what the Christian church likes to paint things out to be. It's not, spooky or Hollywood. The relationship between an angel and the Most High God is a warrior, a soldier, and a general. This man here gives the order, and this soldier here does it and completes the order. And that's it. It's nothing Hollywood. It's not white men or white babies with angels' wings that's naked floating in the sky. That's not it. They're soldiers. They're sent to do a job, and they're going to do it, and they're going to report it back to the Most High God. Everybody understand? Salakia. Verse 6. And the Most High said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. And here's why this is so heavy, right? What is being said here? And a lot of Christians think that this is actually God speaking, right? When you go into Hebrew, you will read the word Alahayim, right? And that word is the angels, the powers. That represents the angels, right? This here is not the Most High God saying, well, what are we going to do? You understand? The Most High God knows what he's going to do. This isn't the angels that are reporting to the Most High God. You understand? Just like what I just said, it's a general and a soldier. That's the relationship between the Most High God and these angels. It's the Alahayim. This is that relationship, and they reporting to the Lord. They're building a tower to reach heaven. You understand? It said these people is one. This is why that's so heavy, because Christians tell you that the number one thing in life is for all of us to be unified, for everybody to be one, for all of us to be one nation under God, indivisible, for everybody to be one people. Why don't we all just get along? I know you've heard that before. That was said by a black man by the name of Rodney King back in 1991, 1992, after he had just went into court to witness the cops that abused him in LA, that almost beat him to death, go scot-free. And he got in front of the camera, and you know what he said after that? Can't we all just get along? Why can't we all bleed red? All of us bleed red. We all bleed red. All of us are human beings. How many times have you heard that at camp? We all bleed red. We're all humans. All lives matter. Can't we all just be one? We're just one. We need to stop all the fighting. Here's what you better understand, Christian. The Most High God wants fighting. The Most High God wants separation. The Most High God wants division. We'll read it again. And the Most High said, behold, the people is one. These people are one. That's the first thing that the angels reported to the Most High God. You know why? Because they know that it is against the will of God for all people to be one. That's something that goes against. This is after the flood. You understand? And what happened to cause the flood? Miscegenation. And the Most High God hates miscegenation. He hates it. He hates to see the other nations mingling with the children of God. He hates to see you joining hand in hand with the other nations. He hates for all people to be one. That is against God, and that is contrary to what Christians believe. Christians believe that the Most High God wants, despite what the Bible says, Christians truly believe that all people should be one people. I think that happened at one time, Mr. Pastor. I think, Deacon, that happened at one time. I think, politician, Mr. Mayor, that happened. That happened at one time. And the very first thing the angels said that they observed to report to the Most High is that these people are one. That's the first thing. That's heavy. That shows that, brother, it's a problem, right? They're reporting something that is a problem to him. And the first thing the angels reply to the Lord is, listen, these people is one. That's what the Bible says. The people is one. And they have all one language. They all speak the same thing. They all are one people. They are joined hand in hand with each other. And they are conspiring to build this tower up to the heavens. Let's keep going. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them. You know why the Most High God hates miscegenation? You know why the Most High God hates for all people to be one? We broke this down, I believe, last Wednesday. Because if all people become one people, and all people become one nation, then they all become Rome and Greece and America. Meaning what? That the man will listen to, Alexander the Greek. If everybody becomes one, everybody's going to listen to President Joe Biden. And then America is going to be the power of the earth. They're going to be the gods of the earth. They're going to be God. Right? If all people become one, then how do you stop rape and child molestation then? Because man doesn't have a law. The Romans didn't have a law against that. Right? America, brother, even though it's written in law about child molestation, brother, rapists and child molesters get off every day. In America, a oppressor that molests a child will get no time in jail, none. Right? So then how does it stop if all people become one? All people become one, then nobody will listen to the Most High God. You get the point? Everybody is going to salute the flag. Even though the flag has murdered blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, everybody's going to pledge allegiance to America, even though America enslaved poor blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, murdered Native American Indians to the tune of 77 million, murdered the Mexicans to the tune of 33 million. Everybody's going to look past the knee on George Floyd's neck because America the brave, America the beautiful. Nobody will respect God if everybody is one. And that's the problem that Christians don't understand. Christians are so LGBTQ and so they just give in to their lust that they will never understand that the will of God is not unity for all people. The will of God is for all nations to be divided and separated. Precept. When Yahushua Christ said what? That he was going to join all nations just to separate them in the valley of decision. That's in the book of Matthew. Like here it is, our whole life we thought that civil rights and marching for everybody and love for everybody, that was what God really wanted. And only blacks and Hispanics think this. But we grew up in black and Hispanic thinking we can't hate the Spanish for conquering, the conquistadors for conquering the Mexicans and the Incas and the Mayans and the Aztecs. We can't hate the Spanish for conquering the Tainos and murdering the Tainos. We can't blame Christopher Columbus. We can't. What did they tell the North American Indian around Thanksgiving? It was so long ago. Get over it. It's in the past. Now eat the turkey for Thanksgiving and shut the hell up. Eat the cranberry sauce. Just take it. Just forget about what happened in the past and just think about now. And now we can join hands. I know I murdered your brother. I know I molested your sister and raped your mother. I know I killed your father and murdered your grandfather and enslaved your great-grandfather, but let's move on. It's in the past. It's 2022. We can vote now. It's civil rights. It's in the past. That's so disgusting, and that's Christianity. Christians make you forget about slavery and forget about the crimes and the atrocities that have been committed against your people. When God said, remember the days of old. That's what the Most High God said. So if we all become one, how do the slaves who were under the Greeks and the Babylonians and the Romans and America, how do they ever receive justice? We can't all be one. We can't all be one, or else no one is going to listen to the Most High God. Blacks and Hispanics will never get justice if we're all one people. And the church just doesn't see that because they're so fixated on their own lust, on their money, on their orgasm. That's what they care about. But in the Bible, the Most High God cares about real justice, Isupk. That's what he cares about. He cares about people getting justice, receiving justice. And so Nimrod didn't. He cared about power and might and authority. And he wanted to be God. Just like Alexander, just like Napoleon, just like the Caliphate, just like the Mongols, just like America. Everybody and all races of people want to be God. The heathens all want to be God in their own way. The oppressor does it by going to the moon. Russia and America, they did it in the 60s by going to outer space. And so Nimrod knew this, and so now what? He's going where? To the stars, to reach the heavens. At one time, that's what this was called. The sky was called the heavens. And so he's going to the sky, the heavens, the stars, so he can be what? God. And so what do you have to do if you want to be God? Join all people together. Because if all people come together with no language barrier, then we can all communicate. What did the Bible just say? And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them. What does that mean? There will be nothing they couldn't do because they are what? Together. Now you see why there has to be division. Now you see why our King Christ said that he came to set a variance between a mother and daughter and a son and a father. Now you see why Christ said that when he returns, he's coming to separate all nations of people. Now you see why. Now you see why Christ said, those mine enemies who should not that I reign over them, slay them before me. Because if you want unity of all people, that means you don't want God to rule. That means you want the Romans to be God. That means you want the Americans to be God. That means you want Nimrod to be God. And the Most High God can't have that. The Most High God can't have his children following some heathen. He can't have that. So now what does he do? What does he say? 7, go to, let us go down, and there confound their language. So the order is given for the angels of the Lord to go and now confuse the speech, meaning to change now everybody don't speak one language. Now over time and through generations, now people begin to speak Arabic. Now people begin to speak Hebrew. Now people, Hebrew is the dominant language, the oldest language. But now some people speak Hebrew, but not everybody does. There's a nation of people who does speak Hebrew still. There's a nation of people who speak Arabic, who speaks Latin, who speaks, those old languages. You can look up those languages that were spoken during this time, and they began to be divided. So over time and throughout generations, people stopped speaking the same language. Now my son won't understand your son. If you're an African and I'm an Israelite, if you're an African and I'm a Edomite, my children won't understand each other because there's a different dialect, a different speech of how we talk. There's a different grammar. There's a different language. That's language. There's something different. I can understand you. That's a language barrier. You speak something different. Just like now, if you was a brother who don't speak Spanish and a brother from Mexico come up here and try to speak to you, you wouldn't understand him because there is a language barrier. You understand? Well, this began to happen because the Most High God said to do it, and the angels did it. You understand? And this is Nimrod. This is Nimrod. You understand? Verse 8. So the Most High scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. So now over time, everybody is scattered throughout the earth. Instead of everybody being in one centralized location, trying to worship Nimrod as a god and build a tower to the heavens, the Tower of Babel, which why Babel means confusion, because that is what the angels of the Lord did. They confused the language of everybody. So now certain nations speak this, and now you won't understand this person. So that's the Tower of Babel. And so over time, throughout generations, nations began to go in different places and wage war against each other. And this is just all history here, man. And so now nations wage war. Now, if you're Eritrean, you don't like the Ethiopians, right? If you are, Greek, you don't like the Sabians, right? Who are the real Japhites. You don't like them. You fight wars. right? You fight wars. If you're a damn, a Cushite, you don't like a Canaanite. You fight wars with Canaan. Canaan fights wars with Cush. Israel, if you're an Israelite, everybody hates you, and you fight wars with Canaan and Cush and Hittite, all the Jebusites and all of these nations, Amalekites. You fight wars with everybody. Now everybody is separated just how God wanted, and that is beautiful in the sight of God, for all nations to be separate, right? And so that is what happened. And that was Nimrod, who we just read about now. Why did we read this, and why did we break down Ham and who Nimrod descended from and how he was an African and going over the history of Nimrod? Because Christmas is about Nimrod. You understand? Christmas, just briefly, Christmas is Nimrod's birthday. December 24th, approximately December 24th, December 25th. So now let me give you a Salakia. Let me break the thing down flat. The months of the year. Let's go all the way back to the months of the year. This will help you understand Christmas. Right? Before there were 12 months of the year, there were 9, right? And they're all in numerical order. September, October, November, December. Deca, 10, Nov, that's 9. Sept, that's 8. You understand? Oct, 8. All right. So you had those months were added, right? But on the 10th month, 25th day, 24th day in history says that that is approximately Nimrod's birthday. Why is that important to understand? Because when the months of those years after the pre-Julian calendar was added, those 3 months, October, November, December, that 10th month became what? The 12th month. Now it's December and not the 10th month, right? At one time, that's how you told time. If you a little confused, let me help you out. At one time, time wasn't told. There wasn't months of the year. There wasn't April. The months that we know is in Western civilization. The months we know: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Those are all named after oppressors, Roman and Greek oppressors. That is who the months of the year are named after. Same with the days of the week. Same with the planets in the sky. Right? What are you learning about in the church? You go to church to learn to love everybody. Meanwhile, you're a black and Hispanic man you're a black and Hispanic man, a child, that's going to say, today is December the 10th, and you go to school and you learn about Saturn and Jupiter. Like, I don't know if that there blows my mind, because Christians are going to tell you to love everybody. Meanwhile, you're the days that you even know of the week that you tell time, how you tell time is by an oppressor. Some Roman oppressor, some Greek oppressor that lived thousands of years ago. While you in church, a black church, this is rough, you're in a black church, and you learn about, loving everybody. Meanwhile, the only way you know how to tell time is because of a white man. It seems like we love oppressors enough. It doesn't seem like we need to go to a church and learn how to love oppressors. It seems like the oppressors need to learn how to love us. Because everything is named after white people, everything. Starbucks, everything. The planets in the sky. Like, that's Nimrod. Like, here he was trying to do that. That's what Nimrod was trying to do. Nimrod was trying to go to the heavens and just have how we name everything, or the oppressors name everything after the Romans gods. That's what Nimrod was trying to do. Like, he wanted to conquer space the way the white man has done. That's what he was trying to do, because whoever does that, they're God. Here your child is learning about Neptune, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto. Those are Greek gods, In science, Lord knows, they didn't let me in to try to be a damn chemical engineer. And learning about radiation, you got gamma, that is all Greek names, alphabet. Like, everything, even in science, is Greek and Roman. So you mean to tell me you're going to get a higher education in chemical engineering? You're going to get a higher education in law when you go to law school, right? Anybody who's been in law school or know about law school or know somebody in law school, the method is called the Socratic method. Socrates was a Greek philosopher. The Hippocratic oath in medicine and health. That is Hippocrates. That is a Greek god, a Greek philosopher, a white man. Everything you do is going to be centered around your oppressor. And you're going to go to church Sunday. You're going to go to church on the 25th of December on some Christmas day and learn about loving everybody. It seems like we loved everybody quite enough. It seems like nobody is learning how to love us. Like, when you're going to go to church and learn how to love everybody, what is that? When we are learning the days of the week, and the time, how you tell time is just because of a white man. Like, that blows my mind, Doc. Because the point was we just waste a lot of time in that church on how to love everybody, when really, we need the focus should be loving your own people, right? Black people don't have days of the week. The days of the week are named after famous black and Hispanic men, right? It wasn't named after Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey. It's named after your oppressor. And that's the only way you know how to tell time. But at one time, that isn't how you told time. You told time through the 10th month of the 26th day, the 7th month of the 3rd year. That's how time was told. Not April, January, February, March. That is the Julius Caesar calendar. Julius Caesar is who? A Roman, a white man. Ding, 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 ding. Correct. Like, the calendar is white. January, Janus. February, Februa. March, April, May, Maya. All of that garbage. Juno, Julio, Julius. Like, all of that garbage, that's all white. It's all white. Like, we're in bad shape, Salakia. But it's all oppressor's time. And that's how time is told now. But at one time, it was told through the 10th day of the 25th month. The 25th day of the 10th month. And that is the day Nimrod was born. Right? The 25th day of the 10th month. That 10th month now is December. Deca. 10. Right? 10. The 10th month of the 25th day. And so, he was born on December the 24th, 25th. And the whole entire reason that all of that started was his mother / wife, Nimrod, had sex with his mother, right? And when he died, his mom, Semiramis, she made a decree to the land of Babylon and to the nation and into that part of the world at that time to bring gifts to this evergreen tree. Because my husband, even though he died, he lives in this evergreen tree. His spirit lives on. Where have you heard that before? Even though he's dead, his spirit lives on. Like, that is a lot of witchcraft and a lot of just Christianity. Reincarnation is real. That's what happens. That's life. Regenerated, reincarnated. But when heathens say your spirit lives on, when Christians say your spirit lives on, they mean it in a spooky, terrifying, Freddy versus Jason type of way. Meaning like you never die. And that's how this heathen Semiramis, Nimrod's wife / mother, this is how she meant it. She meant it in a spooky, frightening type of way to invoke fear in the people who lived in these lands, right? And so she told everybody, my husband's spirit lives on. He's never dead. He's here. He's watching all of us. He knows. Listen, this is how heavy this is. He knows when you've been good. He knows when you've been naughty. He knows when you've been naughty. He knows when you've been nice. This is Semiramis' Semiramis told the people who lived in these lands at this time, that Nimrod's spirit lives on. Ooh, spooky. Ooh, Freddy vs. Jason. Ooh, he sees me when I'm sleeping. He knows when I've been bad or good. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? So now Semiramis said, listen, Nimrod's spirit lives in this evergreen tree. He knows if y'all been naughty around this time and around his birthday, which goes to show you that a birthday is a heathen custom. Around Deca, the 10th month, the 25th day, you're going to bring gifts to this evergreen tree. This Nimrod tree, this tree that has the spirit of Nimrod in it. And so you're going to give these gifts to this tree because you're giving them to Nimrod. Bring gold. People would bring gold and all they had, and they would bring it to this tree, a gift, just a gift to the tree, right? They put it under the tree. They worshiped the tree. How did they worship the tree? Because they thought that a spirit lived in the tree. They sung songs to this tree. That sounds very familiar. We'll get to that in a second. That sounds very familiar. They sung songs to the tree. They decorated the tree. How did they decorate the tree? Because if somebody was a naughty boy, If somebody was a naughty girl, by military order, their heads would be cut off if they did not bring or refuse to bring a gift to the Nimrod tree, the evergreen tree. And guess where those heads went? They went up on that tree. And that's your modern day ornament. That's why it's a ball. An ornament on the tree is not a square, a triangle, it's not a star, it's nothing other than a ball, sphere, because that is your head. It represents your head. That was Nimrod's tree. Nimrod, his mother/wife, said he lived in this goddamn tree. People were so afraid and terrified, they would bring gifts to this damn tree. And if they didn't, their head would be cut off. That's how Nimrod knew if you've been bad or good. How did Nimrod know if you've been a bad boy? Because some general or some soldier in a garrison of the army under Semiramis would go into the damn town, and whoever didn't pay up, whoever didn't give gifts, like, you were dead. Your head was cut off. It's sent back to Semiramis to go on this damn evergreen tree. And that's why trees at one time, you can ask somebody even born in the 50s, your grandmother, great-grandmother, they used to have trees, even to this day here in Kansas City, I believe at the plaza, or Crown Center, they still do. A tree was normally, it was inside of a town square, right? A big town square where it was a huge, they find these big old evergreen trees from, places like Canada, places with vast forests. And they cut these 80, 100 feet trees down, and they will place them right there in the middle of a town square. And even to this day, some cities, some little small towns in Tennessee and different places here in Missouri, these people in the town will go and give a gift under this tree. Well, that's where it started. That's why you're giving a gift to this tree. That's why you're singing songs to the tree, because of old spooky Nimrod can see if you've been bad or good. He knows for goodness sake. He knows if you've been bad or good. You got to give this present to this tree. And that's why today you don't even give gifts to the person, right? In Christmas, traditionally here, in modern days, what do you give the gift first? Do you give the gift to the person? Do you say on December 25th, here, take this gift? No. You put it under the tree. The same way people did thousands of years ago in the lands of Babylon when under Semiramis after Nimrod died. So now people bringing gifts. If you don't give a gift, your head is an ornament on the tree as an ornament. And that's your tree, Ak. That's your Christmas. That's it, Ak. That's your Christmas. That's Christmas, Ak. Christmas is Nimrod's birthday, and when you celebrate Christmas, you're celebrating a heathen king. First off, you're celebrating a birthday which is against God. I think that's another thing. Christians try to persuade you to celebrate Christmas by saying it's Jesus' birthday. Nigga, even if it was Jesus Christ's birthday, Christ didn't celebrate his birthday. Celebrations of birthdays are against God, and they aren't lawful. They aren't Israelite custom or culture. That's a heathen custom. That's a heathen custom to celebrate a birthday. So Christians try to say, well, it's Jesus' birthday. Number one, it's not Christ's birthday. But even if it was, what difference would it make? We don't celebrate the birthday of anybody that's living or dead. We don't celebrate birthdays, right? That's a heathen custom. And so now you're giving gifts to a stinking tree, and the tree ain't even, you understand, it's not alive, meaning it can't talk, it can't speak. And that's what we're about to read right now. So I had to give you the whole entire backdrop, the whole entire background, the history of the whole thing of Nimrod, of course, the history of Nimrod. And now we can get into right here in Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. All right, this is a One West breakdown of Christmas. This is old school One West. Jeremiah 10, milk scripture, straight up and down, teaching you that Christmas is an old ancient thing. It was before the time of Christ, which proves that it's not Jesus' birthday. It's not the birthday of Christ, and it's not honoring Christ in any way. You understand? So here we are in Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Verse 2. Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Here we go. I always love this breakdown since being a young young man coming into the truth, a young trooper. I love hearing this being broken down. Be not dismayed as the heathens are dismayed, because growing up, everything seems so normal. The things that we do it's a lot of being a Christian, growing up Christian, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. A lot of the things we do, most of the things, if not all of the things we do, is centered around superstition, right? Spitting on a broom if somebody sweeps your feet, right? Don't step on the crack. Making, what do they call, black-eyed peas for the so-called New Year. What else? Going to church. The Immaculate Conception. It's just so much spookiness. We so spooked out. Everything is spooky in Hollywood and just it's not real. All that garbage is just a lot of man-made garbage, and that's superstition. And the Bible says this: learn not the ways of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Another thing we do, another thing now is very prevalent. That whole entire, what are they called? The signs, your birthday sign, your zodiac sign. Right? The zodiac signs are because of constellations in the sky. And now some heathen, the Greeks and the Romans, they saw those constellations. They named, of course, they named them after themselves. And so now you think that those constellations in the sky mean something significant. People believe, women, mostly black women, but now I see a lot of men doing this too. A lot of men are getting to that zodiac sign, which makes me think these cats is just LGBTQ, and there's no saving them, Salakia. Because what in the hell are you doing as a man saying, yeah, I'm a Aquarius, I'm a Aries, I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a Cancer. Like, what in the hell is that? So now and here's what's so dumb about the whole entire thing. The zodiac signs change all the time. Somebody who's born in April this year, so-called, if they were to fall up under the umbrella of an Aries, in 2 years, they'll be a Cancer. Because based on the whole zodiac thing, the thing changes. It changes. You understand? Because constellations change. The thing doesn't stay the same. It changes. Somebody who was a so-called Cancer, they identify with being a Sagittarius back in the 80s. They're not a Sagittarius now, which should go to show you that the whole thing is just a made-up dumb thing. It's something that heathens do. What do heathens do? Heathens look at light. This light right here, this fire. This here was a god at one time. I don't know if y'all knew that, but to certain heathens, fire was a god. You know what else was a god? The sun, which is why you have what day of the week? Sunday. That comes from the Egyptians, brother, who all of you Negroes want to try to emulate Egypt. Heathens who had your people oppressed and enslaved. And they worship, sun and the moon. Muslims, the moon and the star. They have that crescent moon and the star on a necklace and on their symbol for Islam, because the Arabs worship what? The stars. The stars. They worship anything. Heathens have a custom of worshiping anything that gives light and power. Power and light. That is the damn thing. That's the whole entire breakdown. That's a heathen. A heathen just is silly and dumb and doesn't know anything, because he wasn't given the breath of life the way Adam and Eve and the Israelites and the chosen people of God were. And so heathens are left trying to search and find answers, which is why they invented a whole entire study called philosophy. Philosophy is just a bunch of men, a bunch of people who just get around, and that's what that thinking picture is when somebody's like in deep thought. They have all these thoughts that swirl around their minds, and they don't have the clarity of thought the way somebody who obeys the Bible does. The Bible is the answer for everything. And when reading the Bible and studying it and learning from the men above you in the Isupk, you will know everything. You won't get stumped up on, well, who created the earth? How was the earth created? You won't get stumped up on, a bunch of nonsense. Because the Bible has the answer for everything. 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 There's nothing I can think of. There's nothing you can think of to ask in class that we won't have the answer to. You know why? Because the Bible is the answer. That's why. And it was given to one group of people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. So the people who don't have the Bible, it was never given to them. They sit around in deep thought and have philosophers like Socrates, Aristotle, Euripides, or what's the other one? I used to remember a lot of them. But it was, they all the Greeks and Romans. And that's where philosophy comes from, a heathen. Somebody who in philosophy is not fact, which is why it's philosophy. It's not stone. It's not set in stone. It's not concrete. Philosophy says give me a great philosopher. It's just a bunch of quotes and talk. What a philosopher? Who was that said this? Salasius, 17th century. What did he say? I am God, and God is. I want to get the quote right. I am like God, and God is like me. I am as large as God. He is as small as I. He cannot above me, nor I beneath him. What in the hell does that mean? And so many times, brother, because of the church and because of prison, we think that you look at a quote that's so heavy to you and so important to you, it's life, and it's not. Heathens don't understand. They don't understand things, right? They don't understand laws and statutes and commandments and science. Science is in the Bible. The Bible and science are congruent. Purification of water, that's in the Bible. Physicians, medicine, all of this is in the Bible. Ships and all of this, the science of it all is in the Bible. And heathens weren't given the Bible. They weren't given this knowledge, this sentientness. And because of that, they just search for something. They search and search and search, which is why that thought, this image of the thought, the statue of Aristotle on the throne, and the Parthenon of thinking, all those great Roman philosophers that white men think are so great, they thinking because they're searching for an answer to something. In the UPK, we don't have to search for the answer to something. We have the answers right here in the Bible. This Bible gives us the answer, and this Bible, which is the Word of God, is telling His people what? To not be searching for answers like the heathen. Don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven. What are the signs of heaven? The stars, the moon, the sun. Things that give power in the sky, which is the stars, the moon, the sun. And heathens will worship that garbage. They will worship it. They will call it a god, like the Egyptians did with the sun, and make a day dedicated to it called Sunday. That's a heathen thing, God. To just find, answers to life when the Bible is our answers. The Bible has all the answers you need. But if you're a heathen, you look at the sky at night and you see the moon, and the Arabs saw the moon. And they said, wow, the Arabs have a god called Allah, which is one of 350 gods of Islam. And do you know that Allah is a rock? Allah is an asteroid, they say, fell from the heavens that landed on earth over there in Mecca. And so they have to kiss the rock every year because of it. And that they made that their God. That is being dismayed at the signs of heaven. Making something your God that is not God. Making something your power that is not the most high power. And that's the problem with heathens. Like Nimrod, making something a God that is not yours. Making something a God that is just something, it's fire. But here's the problem. When you're a heathen, you don't understand those type of, you don't understand science. You don't understand it. So when you see fire, oh my God, it's power. It gives off heat. Ooh, if I touch it, it burns me. It must be so powerful. More power. This is how silly and how stupid heathens are. Fire is started by a man lighting a match, or if you go out in the woods at this time where there was no matches and lighters, you went out and you started a fire. A human being did this. A man did this. And the fire was on and it was lit, and a heathen would think, this is how silly they are. They will worship the thing that a man created. Like fire is something that a man, he created this thing. He started this thing. He started the fire. Instead of looking at the man that started the fire and say, oh, he must be a god, they will sit around a fire and say, this is a god. This fire is a god. Or they would look up at the sun, and they would, instead of thinking of the person who created the power who created the sun, they look at this sun, which is so big in the sky, and you can't even look directly at it. It must be powerful. It must be almighty. It must be this amazing God. We're going to worship it as a god. This dog and this cat, look how majestic it is. Look at this cat. Look how, aesthetic it looks. We got to worship this cat because they're the guardians of the underworld. This jackal, this dog, he's the guardian of that we just got to worship. And that's how heathens, and they just come up with all these different gods. The god of fire, the god of water. Because water is so refreshing and your body needs it. Some heathen drank it and just start worshiping the damn thing. Like, that's heathens. That's heathens. And the Most High God said, don't be like the heathens. Don't do that. Don't look at a tree and give gifts to a tree. Let's keep going. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. The customs of people out in the world are so vain. Vain means nothing. And it is so vain to worship a tree. It is so vain to give gifts under a tree. It is so vain to carve a turkey for Thanksgiving. It's so vain. All of the things that people in the world do, it has no significance to it. None. The things you celebrate your birthday, right? Let's take the birthday. You celebrate your birthday. You're going to keep getting older if you keep living. And here's what's the kicker. You celebrate your birthday, but guess what? There's over 8 billion people on the earth. I think it's people who may be born on the same day as you, so it's not your day. That day wasn't designed for you. There's 600 million people who have the same birthday as you. You understand? It's not unique. It's not unique. But you're going to do it. Why? Because it's vanity. It's vanity. And for some odd reason, vanity gives mankind so much pleasure. It gives man so much pleasure. Like to do something that is nothing is going to give you so much pleasure. To do something that means nothing. You go and celebrate a birthday, and then when you wake up the next day from your birthday, you are a year older, which women hate to hear that. You're a year older than you were. You just spent all that money. You just wasted time, and it's nothing because come your next birthday, it's going to be nothing. It's just nothing. Everybody gets older. He understands life. But when you're a heathen, that day you turn older, that is just everything. And it's just nothing. It's vanity. The same with Christmas. It is all vanity. Think about Christmas from a worldly sense, right? Every year, it's the same day, right? It's the same day every year. And you anticipate it, meaning that around November, around Esau's Thanksgiving, you're going to see decorations for Christmas. You're going to start to buy Christmas trees. You're going to start to sing Christmas music and Christmas carols. And you're going to start to get into the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of the holidays. And it comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. And it has no significance to you. You celebrating Christmas, it does nothing. In fact, it makes you poor. It makes you more poor. It makes you poorer than what you were. Now you're in more debt. Now your children are what? They're going to score worse on their tests. That used to happen to me when I was a kid. Growing up in the world, I would always think about this. The children who were the worst in school, they would get the best gifts for Christmas. You understand? And after they would get the gifts, you would think that when a parent gave their child a gift, that they would improve their behavior because they're being rewarded for something. Because that's what a gift is, showing just you're thinking about a person, or because for a child, they did a good job in school, or they're doing a good job around the house. You give them a responsibility, they take care of their responsibility, so you give them a gift. And you would think that would make the child want to do better in school, a gift. Brother, every December 25th, the worst niggas in the world at them schools are at Bishop Hogan and Central and Paseo, Woodrow Phillips, Longfellow, I said Central, Southwest, Southeast, Westport. They were the worst people in the world. Some of them are locked up now or dead. And they were the ones that were getting presents. And they were shooting up the block at 13 and 14 years old. I remember because they were my friends. And I would say, nigga, you getting a pair of Jordans? Jordans was what, $200 then? $180 back then. That's money. Even now, that's a lot of money. And they would get brand new Jordans every Christmas. And I'll be like, do you know what he's doing in school, Miss So-and-so? Miss Johnson, do you know what he's doing in school? Do you know this cat here he's a terror to the community, and you're rewarding him with a gift. And I always thought about that, like, okay, these people are the worst people and they get rewarded. Well, guess what that does? That vanity made that kid the worst kid in the world. Because instead of correcting that child, he's now going to feel like he has to be rewarded. He has to get something. He has to get something, or he's just going to go and rob to go get it, which is what they all did, and most of them are in jail right now for robbing, stealing, being a thief, armed robbery, because they grew up celebrating Christmas. And that's the point. That's the problem. And it's vanity. It's nothing. Whether you give your child a gift on December 25th or not, it's not going to, you giving them a gift might hurt them more than it's going to help them, because December 25th is just another day. And that's why it's so vain. It's so vain because it's just another day. There's no significance to blacks and Hispanics, December 25th. The fourth Thursday of November, so-called Thanksgiving, it's no significance to us. If there was no Thanksgiving on the fourth Thursday of November, what would you be doing? You would be minding your damn business, going to the slave, and just raising a family. Well, just do that on the fourth Thursday of November. Do that on December 25th. If the white man never declared December 25th to be a federal holiday that nobody ever knew about or celebrated, what would you be doing? Going to your slavery, going to work, raising your family to the best of your ability. Do that on December 25th. Because celebrating it is vanity. The whole entire process that comes around every year, and it does nothing. Never has Christmas benefited America. Never. It never has been. When I say benefited America, meaning Christmas during World War II, during the Civil War, during the Revolutionary War, during World War III, World War I, during the Vietnam War, during the war in the Middle East, Desert Storm, Operation Enduring Freedom, Christmas never stopped, right? Like during the wars, during the time of war, you would think that, the money that the businesses made from Christmas, that they would at least send it to help families of soldiers, or they would send it to the government or to help the military and help soldiers and whatever. But it never stopped. Christmas still went on, and the money just went to make white men richer and you poor. And so the point is, it's vanity. It's gonna come and it's gonna go. It's gonna come around this time next year, and it's not going to do anything for anybody. It's not going to benefit anybody. It's not going to do anything for anybody. It's just another day. But when you're a heathen, something that's vain brings you so much pleasure, because you're not on that type of level thinking wise. You're not, you worship fire and the moon and the stars and zodiac signs and weed. Where's the lighter? That flick of the lighter, that's a god, Doc. I don't know if people knew that. Thug, to call somebody a thug, thuggy or thug was a god. Hashish, weed is a god. Molly, the drug is a god. Like everything heathens made to be gods, Doc. Everything. There was a East Indian that I just read about 3 weeks ago. This was a rough one, Doc. Y'all want to listen to this one. There was a heathen I read about 3 weeks ago, Doc. And he had his arm up like this, right? He put his arm up like this to, I forget what it was for. I want to say it was to stand for a protest, or he was doing it to protest something. And he just made doing this a god. Just simply having his arm up in the air, he made that to be a god. And so now the thing is withering and dying because it's stuck like this, because he's a heathen. He's an East Indian, which makes him a heathen. And he's just stupid. And sense, he don't have any sense out. And they will make this a god. Having your arm in the air, he made it a god. And the damn thing is gone now. Because it's been up for so long and he's never moved it from this position and took it down or bent it, it's stuck in this position. And the thing, you can see his bones, because all of the skin, the flesh is withered away and it's stuck in this position. They said even if he wanted to put his arm down now, he couldn't. And that's heathens. They will make literally anything a god. A position of your arm is a god. Your teeth, your eyes, everything. That period blood that East Indians put on their forehead is a god. Everything is a god to heathens because they are stupid. And vanity gives them great joy. And the Most High God is saying, don't be like a heathen. Don't worship vain things. Don't be like a heathen and be dismayed. What does dismayed mean? You are awe of the things of the heavens. You're in awe of fire. When if you just read the Bible, you can see where everything comes from. You can see its origin. You will know how to do things. Adam did, because he had the breath of life from the Most High God, meaning he was taken from a low state, like any heathen was in a low, dirty, disgusting state, and the Lord chose him and his family to be the ruling class of the earth, to be the ones that knew how to start the fire. Like Adam knew, instead of worshiping the fire, let me make fire to get heat and to get energy. Instead of worshiping the stars, I can use this as a means to communicate, which is what he did. Instead of worshiping the water, drink the water and bathe and clean with the water. Instead of eating a horse, we could use this horse and this cattle and this ox to do work. Instead of eating a horse, I can use this horse to get from this point to this point, from this destination to this destination. He knew not to be dismayed at simple things because he wasn't a heathen. But the heathens that are around about Adam and Eve, those are the nations, brother, they just were dismayed at everything that gave energy, light, and power. And that's why the Lord said, don't do that. Don't be like the heathen. Don't be like the heathen. You're not the heathen. You're God's chosen people. You're set to a different standard. God is running, he's giving you the game on how not to be stupid, on how not to be a fool, on how not to blow Christmas, how to not to blow money on Christmas. I hear some of the things at the slave act that these men are buying these kids thousands of dollars, 3 paychecks, 4 paychecks you saved up to get children gifts because that is what the oppressor told you to do. Are you out of your mind? You could have saved that money and it could have went towards something else, saved for another car, a better house, better living conditions, but you would waste it because it's vain. It's vanity. It does nothing. All right, let's keep going. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. So here we go. It's Christmas 101. It's somebody that has to go in that forest and the woods and cut this evergreen tree down. Cut this tree down just so you can put it in your house. Now think about how vain that is to put a tree. Think about how stupid it is to put a tree that is wood and thistles and thorns, that is flammable, and you put it in the house and wrap lights around the damn thing. And at one time, during slavery, the oppressor, our slave master, would literally put candles around the goddamn Christmas tree inside of a closed domain. Now you think about that when you think about a heathen, because that is the thought. That is how heathens think. They put a light, fire, candles around an evergreen tree, around a tree that's wood, that is highly flammable, that will catch fire. And they do this today with lights around the tree. And that is the number one thing around this time. I always say this, you can always look it up. House fires go up around this time. Why? Because the amount of idiots putting a tree inside of their house with lights around the goddamn thing. That's vanity. That's ignorance. And the Bible says there's a workman, there's a man that goes in that thing, in that wood, in the woods, in the forest. He's cutting these evergreen trees down. Let's keep going. And they deck it with silver and with gold. Here we are. That thing you put around the tree, you understand all the decorations, they're always silver and gold around Christmas time. You put the red and green lights around it, the white, red, and green lights on a live tree that's flammable. And then you're going to put more flammable holly around the goddamn tree that's silver and gold. This is in the Bible. This is before Christ. This is in the book of Jeremiah. This is before Christ. You understand? Before Christ was on the scene, this is talking about Christmas, which goes to show Christmas is not the celebration of Christ's birthday. Christmas has nothing to do with Christ, but it has everything to do with vanity and Nimrod and heathens and Africans and disgusting people that God hated. Let's keep going. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. They put a Christmas tree in the house, and then at the bottom, they fasten it with nails. They have a bowl that you put it in that you screw these nails into so it doesn't move. This is in the Bible. Now, how many Christians say they read the Bible, say they love Jesus and they love God and they obey Jesus and they have a personal relationship with Jesus? Well, God's words say not to put a Christmas tree in your house. So then why do Christians put a Christmas tree in your house? God said don't put a Christmas tree in your house. It's vain. It's the worship of heathens. And God said not to do it, and every Christian in about 4 days is going to do this very thing God said not to do. You understand? Let's keep going. Verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree. Evergreen trees aren't leaned over. They're upright. They're stout. It's a tree that, you understand, is just a tree that's upright. You understand? It's an upright thing, right? They must needs be born. That means it has to be carried. So here you are. You have to carry the damn tree in the house. You carry the tree. You decorate the tree. You put all kind of decorations on it. It's more because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. This tree isn't going to talk to you, man. It's a tree. That's what it is. It's not going to, these candles, right? They're not going to talk to me. They're not going to move unless I move it. I'm not going to worship the candle, right? If I was to say right now in class, let's all give a hand clap for these. Let's all give a big round of applause for these candles. And we start singing songs to the candle. And we start saying how much we love the candle and how much the candle means to us. And we put gifts under these candles. You would call 911 on me for mental help because it's silly and vain and stupid. Well, that's what y'all do every December 25th. Just remember that. Think about this candle and remember that. You're giving gifts to a tree when the tree is not alive. It's dead the moment you cut it down. And you put the thing in the house, a dead tree that's withering and dying, that makes it more flammable than already what it is. And you put lights around the thing, which makes it even more flammable. And you give gifts to it, and you sing to the tree. You sing songs, "O Christmas tree, how lovely are thy branches." Like the thing could hear you. It's vanity, it's silly, it's a sin against God. You understand? That's what Christmas is, man. It's a sin against God. And every December 25th, you're going to celebrate the damn holiday, Esau's holiday. You're going to get it in. You're going to sing Christmas carols. You're going to do that. You're going to sing Christmas songs and sing songs to tell the tree how much you love it. And once again, in the world, that kind of thing doesn't make you an occult. Somebody sings a song to these candles out, and they start, decorating this candle, and they start telling the candle how much they love it. You would say that they were crazy. That's what you would say. But you celebrate Christmas about a tree because you think Nimrod lives in the tree. That is insane, not. You teach children about Santa Claus, who's a fictional character who doesn't exist. He doesn't live. He's a fake man that you created to tell children to give presents to convince your child to be good instead of being bad. Santa Claus raises all your kids because you have to scare your child that he won't get presents from this fake man if he's naughty. Where does that come from? I said it earlier. How does Santa know if you've been bad or good? Because Nimrod knew if you was bad or good. That's where that comes from. He knows if you've been sleeping. He knows if you've been awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. That's Nimrod. That's where Santa Claus comes from. Well, that's where because Saint Nicholas was a real man. That was a black bishop in Turkey, right? That you can look up. That was a real man. But of course, Christianity made him so LGBTQ and made him so soft and made him fake and made him to have nothing to do with the real Saint Nicholas. They made him to be some fat, jolly white man, some pervert who all the kids sit on his lap. He gets free feels. He's a Catholic. That's Santa Claus. Santa Claus is a Catholic guy because he's molested more kids than any Catholic preacher, any Catholic priest. All the kids sit on his lap. And as a parent, what are you thinking? Once again, be not dismayed like the heathens. Don't be so stupid and so vain like the heathens. You're going to sit your child on a stranger's lap. And you tell your children, don't go and talk to strangers. Don't take candy from strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Damn sure don't sit on a stranger's lap. You're going to take your child to sit on a stranger's lap. For what? For Jesus? That's what you're doing. That's what Santa Claus is for. You're sitting your child on a stranger's lap. Some stranger who was a child molester, who was a convicted child molesting felon, who just got out of jail, because that is all who gets those Santa Claus jobs at the malls. You're going to sit your child on a child molester's lap for Jesus? What is the tree for? You're putting decorations around the tree for Jesus? It's all for Nimrod. That's who it's for, man. And it's high time to stop lying about the whole thing. It's time you learn the truth about something. And the truth is that Christmas has nothing to do with Christ. It has nothing to do with the Bible. It has nothing to do with God. Santa Claus has nothing to do with Christ, nothing to do with God, nothing to do with the Bible, but it has everything to do with vanity. And that's what God said don't do. Don't be like the heathen. Don't celebrate a vain custom. Don't look and be dismayed at the signs, because what do you put on the tree other than the folly and the decorations? You put a star on top of the goddamn thing. You made this thing your God. Because here's what, and listen, anybody who wants to try to deny it, well, just tell them, well, just didn't have the Christmas without all the decorations, all of the presents, all of the trees, and all of the stars and the holly. Don't have a presents and dinner. Don't have a feast or a meal for that December 25th. And then you see what they'll say. See if they say, oh, well, you can have a Christmas without presents. You can have a Christmas without presents and all of that. You can have a Christmas without the gifts and without the trees. See if some Christian will admit that. They won't, because they know that Christmas is all about presents, gifts, stars on top of trees, the evergreen tree, the Christmas tree. It's all about, singing Christmas carols. That's part of it. You don't have Christmas without that. That's Christmas. So if you celebrate it, what are you celebrating? Nimrod. That's the whole point. The whole point is, if you celebrate Christmas, you are doing something that is against God. You're sinning against God. And something General Hyman said that was so heavy in class Monday night. He said, who in the hell would not shoot, or no, let me get it right. And you wonder, this is what he said, and you wonder why somebody would shoot somebody in the head for money. They're just trying to have a good Christmas. That's what he said on Monday night history class. And that was so heavy, because that is the truth. Christmas breeds liars and thieves and spoiled children. You spoil your kids. You destroy them. Spoiling means you destroy them. You destroy those children. When you give them gifts for doing nothing, they don't deserve the gifts. Make them work harder. Our kids in here go to school at 12 to be engineers, like Captain Napata's Alabun son. Give him a hand. Going to school to be an engineer. Captain Azanaya, before coming to class, I saw that post. His son is building, robots. Autonomous robots. That's what his son is building. And his son is, 11, 10? And what does your child do? Smoke weed. They start smoking weed, I think, at 12 years old. That's what your child does. Your child is a terror to every teacher at that school. And you're going to give that little bastard a gift. And so now what is he going to become? He's going to become Big Meech. That's what he's going to become. He's going to become the next big drug dealer on the block because he has to get money. He's going to become the next big murderer on the block because he has to get power. He has to get money. He has to have gifts and give his kids gifts when he gets to become a grown man for December 25th. And the cycle never ends. It's time we break that cycle of making horrible children. So it's time we break that cycle of making horrible children, and it starts with Christmas. If you want children, if you want Black and Hispanic children, Dr. Umar Johnson, I've listened to him before, and he talks a lot about Black boys. Well, if you want Black boys to be better, if you want them to behave better, then stop celebrating Christmas. Celebrating Christmas is one of the sole reasons why Black children are in the predicament they're in, because you get rewarded for doing nothing. It's vain, and it teaches your child selfishness, and they're going to grow up to rob everybody, and they're going to shoot somebody in the head so he can have a great Christmas. If you want to make better children, if you want to have a better society, if you want Black people to start loving each other, then you know what you have to do? You have to stop celebrating Christmas. And with that, Majum, just me up here. All right. Go ahead and clap it up. All right. Isupk security announcements. Oops, Isupk security announcements. We're the Isupk, start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. Salakia. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10 means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashera. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Currently, we're currently observing the feast of Hanukkah, or the feast of dedications, right, which is a memorial, right? So it's not a holy day. There won't be a closing this Saturday, which marks the 8th day or the closing of the feast of Hanukkah. There won't be a closing service at your school, but you still will light the candles every night like we've been doing, right? You will light the menorah, you light all 7 candles, right, at one time. And then at the end of sundown, Saturday would end the whole thing. So after that, you won't have to light candles anymore. This Saturday will mark the last day of the memorial, the feast of dedication or Hanukkah. Everybody understand? And then give the Passover hand, the Lord's Passover. You understand? The Lord's Passover, which will be in Raleigh, North Carolina. That is April 1st, 2023. Start making preparations now. Do not wait, because if you wait, you may not be able to make it. You may not be able to go. It's going to cause a great headache, great trouble. What you want to do is get ahead of all that trouble, get ahead of a headache, and you want to start prepping now. You want to get the hotel. The hotel rooms are out. Just contact your camp leader. You want to get the hotels, right? You want to start booking the rooms. You want to start getting those garments, those fly garments, brother. I saw those Lenza photos. You understand? All the brothers look glorious. I know we'll look glorious at the Passover. You understand? It's all about Christ. That's what the Passover is about. Remembering brotherhood Christ and remembering the Most High God, how he destroyed our enemies. You understand? For our sake. So what you want to do is you want to start preparing now for the Lord's Passover. Once again, it's in Raleigh, North Carolina. Make sure you start getting those tickets, the plane tickets, train tickets. Start saving for the gas. Let's get into the spirit of the Passover. Everybody understand? As we see the world getting into the spirit of Christmas, brother, we outdo them, brother, because we serve the Most High God while we celebrate the Lord's Passover. That's the Lord's high holy day, not Christmas. So let's get into the spirit of the Passover and start saving and preparing and getting your Passover fee and funds paid now. All right, don't wait. Start doing it now. All right. Remind Akim and Wap to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, shirt, pants, headband, and war scarf. With that, Imajim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barakathum. Yajim Matah, Sar, face the sisters. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Alathun Bahashim Yahweh Shah. Yajim Matah, dismissed.